But it's not about actually making the world a better place. It's about in-group signaling that you are a member of the loving woke.
No, this is like, again, this is bullshit, right? If it's in-group, no, it's in-group signaling that you are a part of people that don't want to, that want to be a decent human being and don't want to make, children feel like inferior or isolated or demonized. That's all you're trying to do, right? This is not the woke. Apparently, people like Ben Shapiro associate everything when it comes to acceptance now as woke. If that is the definition of woke, then consider me woke. Right? I would be woke then, based on this. Like, we fight the woke dogma here, but based on what Ben Shapiro defines, because again, you could say the same thing about accepting gay people and accepting people of other ethnicities, right, and of other countries. Like, see, like, look at what he's saying here. Right?
About actually making the world a better place.
It's not about, so if you, for example, if you said like, oh, some people, imagine you had a school, you were in a society, you lived in you go back a couple of years where children weren't exposed to other kids with different colors, right? And now all of a sudden, because of immigration, let's go back like, I don't know, 100 years. All of a sudden you're seeing black kids, brown kids, and they're like, what is this? What are these? Why are these kids a different color, right? And then you're telling them, you have in there, you decide to add to school curriculum that, some kids have different skin colors, and that's okay, and we love them, and we acknowledge their existence. And then somebody at that time, the Ben Shapiro of that time, would come and say,
it's about in-group signaling.
It's about in-group signaling, right? They're like, you want to be a racist, right? You want to be a racist, and the non-racists are telling the kids that, hey, that some kids are black, and that's okay. And then you're saying like, ooh, this is in-group.
You.
Well, yeah, I mean, he's like, no, it's not okay. We are, these are inferior people, and our kids are being exposed to them, and you're telling our kids to accept that, and this is in-group signaling.
Are a member of the loving woke.
You're the member of the loving non-racist people, and
Hey, that's what Cartoon Network is doing right there.
Yeah. So what is the difference? Susanna, can you tell me the difference between what I mentioned, like just the conservatives? This is exactly what the conservatives would say, I don't know, 100 years ago. What's the difference between that and this? You could categorize any form of, huh?
I don't know.
Yeah, you could categorize any form of loving and teaching as people who are hateful, people who are bigots, people who are racist, people who are homophobes or transphobes, people who are anti-immigrant, people who are anti-love, and their kids are being exposed to love. Like, no, this is not love. Kids are being introduced to accepting tolerance and love, and you're telling them that this is just in-group signal. Yes, it is. Not among woke, among people that don't want to be hateful.
And if you refuse to speak the language, then you are cast out into the outer darkness. And this sort of language characterizes everything that is happening in our politics right now. Gavin Newsom, yesterday, he was tweeting out about the Trump administration saying it would be cutting $200 million in federal healthcare funding to California because the state requires insurance providers to cover abortions, right? Which is a normal political issue. You'll see Democrats attempt to hold back funds based on pro-life positions. You'll see Republicans attempt to hold back funds based on anti-life positions. Here's Gavin Newsom's tweet. Nothing like the pro-life party eliminating healthcare during a global pandemic. California will survive without this dollars for now, but their frail, pathetic, patriarchal system they are so desperate to protect won't.
What is this? California will survive without it, but their failed patriarchal. What is this about?
I don't know how Ben Shapiro is going to tie this in. This is
not relevant to what we just talked about. Is this moving to a new topic?
Well, he's maybe because he's talking about how he's like virtue signaling by calling this a patriarchal system.
Is he going to say virtue signaling? Has he said virtue signaling already?
So far.
Right, that is in-group signaling. When he uses the word patriarchal.
You know what's in-group? What? Okay.
Virtue signaling.
Susie.
It's distinct.
Susie.
Yes.
What does he have on his head? What does he have on his head?
Uh-oh, baby.
What is this?
He has a kippah on his head.
Okay. And what is the purpose of a kippah? I have one.
Well, actually, the purpose of the kippah is to remind yourself that, to separate yourself from God.
What's the actual purpose of a kippah?
Well, I was going to say the actual purpose of circumcision is literally in-group versus out-group.
Okay. I was just waiting for you to just say the phrase. This is in-group signaling.
Yes.
This is in-group. Yeah. So this is like, they're in-group signaling. Yeah. So are you. So are you.
Mm-hmm.
You might say to yourself, wait, Gavin Newsom is a dude, isn't he? Yes, he is. You might say, isn't he the governor of California? The head of that system? Yes, he is. You might say, well, isn't that system, wasn't that created by men, the one that he's taking advantage of? Yes, it is. It's not about that. It's about signaling to everybody else he speaks the lingo. The lingo, again, that secret knock, the lingo is terms like patriarchal, terms like systemic injustice, terms like je, jure, they, them, whom, him.
Terms like virtue signaling, terms like in-group signal. Yeah, virtually woke skull. Like, you could say that about everything you're doing. You're doing the things, you're saying all the things that conservatives want to hear. So you're doing, like, who's not, Susanna, you know who's not doing that?
Literally no one.
No, it's us. We're not doing that. This is why everyone hates us.
That's not true. Literally everyone has in-group signaling.
I know, I'm exaggerating. But what's our in-group signaling? Because we keep pissing on everyone.
No, we have lots of in-group jokes for our community. Like,
so our jokes are
or something.
Yes. Yeah, okay.
Or it's Hikmah, everyone,
we turn on our, okay, so the reason why I think that we're less tribal than the left-leaning people and right-leaning people
mean that we don't have it.
It's exactly this. This is why, because you keep fighting me on everything, okay? That's how I know we're never going to turn tribal, because we're not going to be able to. We argue with each other and we don't agree with each other, and we keep highlighting our own.
Arguing again.
Yes, we need to keep. Yes, we are, and we do that because we don't want to turn to people like this that live in an echo chamber and nobody challenges anything they say, and they all of a sudden keep pointing out other people's in-group signaling without having a shred of self-awareness to know that they're doing exactly the same thing to their group. I need Susanna here to point out my BS, and I'm here to point out Susanna's BS, which is plenty of. And we don't. And we what we do here is that you guys point out our BS as well in live chat. And even though you guys are paid members, sometimes I highlight your comments and I embarrass you and point out how moronic you're being in the live chat, even though you're patrons and members, right? So I think as much as, okay, fine, we have in-group signaling, okay? But we have done a very good job not to be dogmatically tribal, right? Like, we constantly fight each other on every single topic. So I think you could be, this is the best way.
That pissing on everyone is our in-group signaling.
Oh, shit. You're right. Maybe trying so hard not to be tribal is the signal, is our virtue signal to our tribe.
Well, our virtue signaling is one of our virtue signals legitimately is openly saying that we were wrong and we changed our minds.
Yeah. But that's we're virtue signal. I mean,
another virtue signal of ours is coming with those facts, coming correct with receipts, with research. Data.
Also admitting that we don't know.
Yeah.
We don't have it.
Wait, no, but real quick. It's so funny that you guys think that this is us arguing.
Oof.
Like, sometimes I actually wish people could see our real arguments, because it's pretty hilarious, actually.
Yeah, you guys better get used to it. If you guys get traumatized just because you see me and Susie fighting, then you guys
that wasn't even fighting. That was disagreement.
Yeah, no, but we're gonna fight. We're gonna fight.
It's so...
All Them whom? By the way, look at what they're being asked of. These people think like what is that? By the way, here's a question, Sus.
Mhm.
What do you think these people think is the harm? Right?
The destruction of Western civilization, honey.
No, but seriously, like
No.
say like I know. Okay, but yeah, you're right. Actually, they're that.
Mhm.
But
Yeah, I'm right.
think about the destruction. Yeah. So basically, there's somebody that looks traditionally like a girl to them, and it has female genitals, and she comes and says, "I feel like a boy. Use he and him on me." Okay, and they're like,
No.
destruction of civilized society. Like, seriously, if your civilization hangs on this, your civilization should be destroyed. Right? It should crumble. Like, if this is what I mean, they're talking about language as if it's such a set thing that hasn't already gone through so many changes every goddamn generation, as if this is the anchor. Language is the anchor that the whole society is tied to, which is language is the most fluid, one of the most fluid thing in history, right? It constantly changes based on what people feel more comfortable with, or what's more convenient, or what the norms are at the time.
Conveys the message that is trying to be received by your interlocutor in the shortest amount of syllables.
Yeah, but yet they are pretending that this is a rock solid thing, that moving it will actually breaking apart society, right? Which is bizarre, and so obviously not. This insists them insisting. This is why I don't believe them. Okay, you think that they are suggesting that changing language is like this is a destruction of Western society?
It's not simply changing language.
I know, but any of this, okay? I think they're not that stupid. I think they're just transphobic. I think it's just that. I think they just can't say that they're transphobic because they have to come up with excuses about making it seem like so much is at stake. They're just uncomfortable. They just see something that they're not used to, and they feel icky, and they're like, how could I make this more about me thinking that this is gross? I have to make this about something other than ew, icky, I don't like. I was like, it's the destruction of Western civilization. The whole fabric of society will break apart if we call somebody with female genitals a he or him. Oh no! Like, seriously, that's what they think. That's what they think. All right. No, that's not what they think. That's what they want us to think. They think.
Right? All of this crap is designed for one thing and one thing only, and that is to create a secret handshake of the upper crust.
It's not very secret, okay? It's open. They tweeted about it. How is this a secret?
That's what that is.
Not upper crust.
What?
It's not upper crust. It's not the elite.
Oh, yes. Yeah. One of the most discriminated group people out there, trying to be accepting of them and acknowledge that they can still be loved, whatever pronouns they like. That's not elitism. That is the opposite of it.
The sort of in-group woke signaling does drive
woke signaling. Again, that thing on your head, that's exactly what
reverse signaling on the part of the right. But that signaling used to be stuff that people sort of considered rote and uncontroversial. So, for example, the left is very angry today because David Perdue...
The woke is very angry today. The guy that is triggered by a tweet that says, hey, love people no matter what pronouns they use.
He said
the guy that is triggered by that...
Said the left.
What?
He didn't say the woke are triggered today. He said the left is triggered today. So he's making that.
The left is very angry. The left is very angry. Guy that is triggered by a tweet that is telling you to acknowledge and love kids no matter what pronouns they use.
Uncontroversial. So, for example, the left is very angry today because David Perdue and Kelly Loeffler, both the senators from Georgia, who are in very competitive runoff races right now, opposed renaming the Atlanta Braves. And people are like, why are they even commenting on this? The answer is because this is also a form of in-group signaling. This is signaling to their own constituents that they are not a member of the woke elite class.
Oh my God.
Or they are not going to speak.
I mean, based on this standard, what is not in-group signaling?
That language.
Every time you say something, every time you announce something you agree with, now is in-group signaling.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe it is, but then So what? Everything is. If I say like, hey, I think that people should wear seatbelts when they're driving. I'm
You're
in-group signaling to people that agree with me.
You're part of the safetyism of America. You're part of the coddling of the American mind. What is the safe spaces? You want a helmet for your safe space?
No, but seriously, how could not everything? Isn't everything, every opinion in-group signaling based on the standards that he's introducing here? You're in-group signaling to people that.
I said a lot of them are.
Yeah.
So a counter language has formed in rejection of this language. Now, I'm not saying they're wrong because they're not. I totally agree with them. I don't think that the Atlanta Braves is an insulting name. I don't think the Cleveland Indians was an insulting name.
Okay, we're moving.
I mean, even if you want to make the case that the Washington Redskins was an insulting name, which again is controversial and I don't really agree with, even if you want to make that case, there's a world of separation between using the term Redskin and using the term Indians, Braves, or like Kansas City Chiefs, right? That you can see the difference on its face.
Yeah.
3 of those terms cannot even be construed as derogatory toward a particular group of people. Okay, but
Not
the idea here from Loeffler and Perdue is this is, again, a form of in-group social signaling. It is saying that the wokes should not be able to take away sort of common items that we used to hold in common.
When did you hold these things in common? This is not a new thing. People disagree. People from left and right, conservative and liberal, had disagreements on these issues with each other for many things forever, right? Like, this is not like, what are you talking about? Like, nobody's taking anything away from you just because they disagree with you. You could continue being a bigot.
Way sort of common items that we used to hold in common.
Yeah. Okay. So it's, you can say that about, more people in the United States used to be a lot more racist than they are now, right? And now it's becoming less accepting to be racist. So you could be like, but they're taking away the thing that we used to share we used to share these values of believing that white people are superior. And it's now we used to have this in common. Why are you taking things that we had in common away from us?
So Loeffler and Perdue released a joint statement on Monday. They said not only are the Braves a Georgian institution with a history spanning 54 years in Atlanta, they're an American institution. The Braves name honors our nation's Native American heritage, which should not be erased. Under no circumstances should one of the most celebrated teams in sports cave to the demands of the cancel culture and the radical left.
So, Mr. Libertarian Conservative here.
Wait. This just makes me think of a radical liberal.
Right. No, okay, but I was saying something. Don't interrupt me, okay? Patriarchy is in order here. He was saying, look at what he's saying, okay? Look at this, okay?
Honors our nation's Native American heritage, which should not be erased. Under no circumstances should one of the most celebrated teams in sports cave to the demands of the cancel culture and the radical left.
So he's arguing that a private company, right, Mr. Capitalist, Mr. Private Institution, Mr. Free Market, Mr. Free corporations, anti-limitations, anti-regulation, is suggesting that a corporation shouldn't, he actually used the word shouldn't, decide that for their marketing, for their PR, they shouldn't change their name if they have decided independently without any government intervention, decided to change the name to something that is more something that will probably work better for their bottom line, because they do a cost-benefit analysis on all of this. He thinks that's a wrong idea, right? He thinks he shouldn't do that. Why shouldn't? I mean, if somebody was saying that from the left about a corporation, they shouldn't do this. And they're like, this is the left, the authoritarian left telling free corporation.
You say that, and that is their reaction. They're like, it's a private company. It's not the government, sweetheart.
Yes, these people, and you were like, these leftists, if they were in power, they would not let this corporation change their name. So that's what they would say, right? So what do you have against Ben? Hello. What do you have against a private corporation deciding that they want to change their name because more people would be accepting of them, right?
You're saying the biggest threats to the far right are they, them, and happy holidays.
Right.
To be fair, I do not think
only 20%
is far right.
No.
He's definitely
he's not far right.
hard right, but he's not.
No, yeah, we don't have to. Conservatives are ridiculous without being far right. Okay, so we don't have to. We don't go as far as calling everybody on the right far right.
Yeah.
But most people, most conservatives are already, have already enough insane views that we could highlight without them being far right.
I really need to pee. Should I pee now or should I wait?
Wait. We have only.
Okay, 20
percent
seconds.
of Georgia voters surveyed said they believe that the baseball team needs to change its name. More than 70% of voters say the name should be kept. That is one of the reasons why they are making that move. And that's one of the reasons they're saying this sort of stuff, because so much of our culture war is reliant on this linguistic semantic war.
Oh my God.
The language is reflective of the deeper culture
Right.
war that is taking place.
Cancel. All right.
So, I feel like the term culture war is so cringe. Like,
Culture war is a distraction from serious. The only way you should fight fight in the culture war is to find a way to make the culture war less of an issue. Okay, because culture shouldn't be culture should be free flowing and changing based on whatever people want and feel at the time, right? This should not become a political warfare. Okay, so if you want to engage in the culture war, you should only fight in it in an attempt to make it irrelevant. Right? You have to just show how pathetic it is for people to worry about ethnicity, worry about people's biological identifiers, people's the way people want to enjoy food, art, music.
yeah.
You should only, if you want to get involved in culture war, just get involved to highlight how ridiculous it is for people to be worked up about these things. But don't get worked up
sides, because it is both sides.
Yeah, it shouldn't matter. It
Yeah.
shouldn't matter. And also subscribe to our newsletter, because if we get removed from all these platforms, at least we could reach out to you. And guys, by the way, if you subscribe to our newsletter, you get a free copy. Where's your copy, Susanna? Get it. We're doing promotion. You get a free. It's not even promotion. It's free. Okay, so if you subscribe to our newsletter, link in the description, you get a free copy of Why There's No God. Come on, like, I'm handing it out for free. Okay, it's a bestseller on Amazon, and you get it for free. So subscribe to our newsletter, and you get a free copy of Why There's No God sent to you. Link in the description.